Welcome back to another tool review by the Clueless guy. Let's get started.
A few weeks ago I had to do a plumbing project where I had to cut off some rusty bolts, and I thought, what's the best way to cut those bolts off while doing the least amount of damage? And I decided the best way to do it would be to use a rotary tool. And what I got was this HyperTough rotary tool. Right now it's about $35 at Walmart, and I have to be honest, for the price, I am really impressed with it. So let's look at some of the basic operations. It's got your normal on-off switch. On the side here, we have a speed controller. At the top here, we have a lock that prevents the spindle from spinning, and that's used to remove the locking nut so you can remove a mandrel or add a tool in. Just below the speed control is you have a battery life indicator. So with all three lit up, you know the battery is good. Speaking of batteries, this runs off a standard HyperTough 12 volt battery. Like most of the items in the HyperTough line that are 12 volt, the battery comes out and has a barrel connector right there that goes to the charger. The charger plugs in here. This in turn plugs into the wall. This is not the fastest charger in the world, so don't expect it to charge super fast. If you need to do a lot of work, well then I would encourage you perhaps to get a second battery. Fortunately, this is also compatible with the batteries from the other 12 volt tools from the HyperTough line, and therefore this has not been a problem. Here's a shot with showing the accessories that came with the tool. It comes in a little package like this, and inside it you'll find a bunch of attachments. You'll find some grinding wheels, some cut-off wheels, and some polishing wheels. Now if you've never used a rotary tool before, no problem, let me show you how it works. What you'll do is, it comes with a bunch of these mandrels. Each of these mandrels are designed to go with a certain type of tool. In this case, a polishing wheel. It just screws right into it. And this would then go into the tool. In the case of a sanding disc, you would take one of these round mandrels and you place sanding disc over it, and then you would tighten it down. And what that will do is, as you tighten the screw, the rubber underneath it will kind of squash out and it'll lock the sanding disc to the mandrel. With the mandrel in place, locked to the mandrel, you would then stick this into the tool. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. In the case of a cutoff wheel, it actually, and I have this one already installed, is you take this screw out, you slide the cutoff wheel, and then you tighten down the cutoff wheel on top of the mandrel. So once you have a tool, once you have an attachment on a mandrel, the question is, then what do you do? And the answer is pretty simple. It needs to be placed into this tool here, but you'll notice there's a pretty good size hole there. So what you do, you take one of these collets. The collets have different sizes. There's 4 that came with it. You slide it inside the tool, so it just literally slides into the center of the spindle. You then slide the locking nut over it. You then slide the tool, or the attachment, into the tool, and then you tighten it down. And when you go to tighten it down, the first thing you'll notice is this is spinning, and that's because to keep the spindle from spinning, you have to hold down this lock button, and then you can tighten it down. The tool also comes with a little wrench that you can use to tighten it down, and you now have a cutoff wheel that you can use to cut things. Personally, I am not using any of the attachments that came with the tool, with the HyperTough tool. Instead, I prefer the actual Dremel attachments. They just seem to work better, and I'm going to be demonstrating that in just a second. There's also one other attachment that I got from Dremel that I used, and that is I got tired of having to use all these different collets to attach tools. So what I did was I took this, tossed it aside, took these guys, pushed them off to the side, and I think I was on Amazon, and I bought this. And what this is basically like a miniature drill chuck that screws right over the spindle, and then it acts just like any other drill chuck would work, and then you don't have to worry about, do I have the right size collet? Is it going to work? You also notice I have not used this, and it's already got a crack on one side, and so I'm not using the cutoff wheels that came with it. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the ones from Dremel. The ones from Dremel are a little bit more expensive, but they actually do work, and I'm going to be demonstrating this in a second. So when I do this demo with this tool, I'm actually going to be using a cutoff wheel from Dremel. So I put it into the chuck. I am going to go ahead and use this to tighten it down. While I'm tightening this, I am holding this button down so the spindle doesn't spin. Once I release this, the spindle spins freely, so I can now use this as a cutoff. So just to see how powerful this is, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to find some leftover steel pipe from an old project. I'm going to clamp it to the table here, and I'm going to cut it, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so as you saw, that actually went pretty easily. There was 2 times when it stopped, and that was because I was not holding the tool correctly. In other words, I started pivoting the tool because I was trying to walk around the lights in the camera, and one other time it stopped because I pushed down too hard. So as long as you put very moderate pressure, and this is the important thing when using a tool like this that's not overly powerful when cutting a piece of metal, is go slow. Let the speed of the wheel do the work. Don't lean into it. Every time I lean into it a little bit, the tool stopped. As long as I just went ahead and let the speed of the spindle and the speed of the cutting tool do all the work, it was fine. Again, twice I pivoted the tool to try to avoid the camera stand, and it stopped right away. So those were user error. I will not blame the tool at all for that. I'm going to be honest, for the price, this is just insanely good. I can't stress that enough. Just thinking about it, it works great. So right now the tool is approximately $35 at Walmart, and I've been very happy with it. I've used it for a few small projects. If you're a detailed woodworker, I can't comment on that, but if you just need it to cut off bolts, pieces of metal, grind down a little bit of rust, I've done all of those with this tool, and I've been very happy with it. And I am actually shocked. I am in no way associated with Walmart. Let me stress that. I don't work for them. I've been buying HyperTough tools now for the last maybe 6 months for small projects where I didn't want to spend a lot of money for a major name brand, just to use it once or twice. And instead, I've been so pleased with them. I've just been using them nonstop. I don't know about the longevity. I don't know how long these tools are going to last, but I can just tell you that I've been happy with them. Oh, that's it. I hope it helps, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks for listening to another Clueless Guys tool review, which is completely worthless.